Welcome everyone to the 32-team franchise offseason part 1. This is Doomhammer giving you the coaching changes. So to start out, you can see that the Tennessee Titans have fired Coach Pep Hamilton after a 7-10 season. Hamilton has been there for 5 seasons. He went 10-7, 9-8, 8-9, 8-9, 7-10. He made the playoffs those first 2 seasons, but it just wasn't good enough. They were the 25th power-ranked team in the league. They had the 30th rushing defense, 11th pass defense. Just didn't go as well as they had hoped. So Pep Hamilton, offensive coordinator Kevin Gilbride, and defensive coordinator Romeo Crennel are gone from the Tennessee Titans. Continuing on, we see the New York Jets. They are firing Todd Haley after a 7-10 season. They also fire offensive coordinator Tom Cable and, of course, Dom Capers, a defensive coordinator. Haley had 3 seasons with the team. They went 11-6, 11-6, 7-10. Now, the reason why they did that was because they have Alex Smith, they have Clinton Portis, they have Percy Harvin and Wes Welker, Mercedes Lewis. They have so many good players, but they kept finding ways to lose. They were the 14th ranked offense, but they were the 32nd ranked defense. This is a team that is supposed to be in the playoffs and winning Super Bowls, or at least getting a chance to win the Super Bowl, but they ended up being in 4th place in the AFC East. So here, the New York Jets had a short fuse here and decided to get rid of Todd Haley after 3 seasons. Then you go to the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals fire not only their head coach, Ken Whisenhunt, but also general manager Tom Heckert, offensive coordinator Livonia Mitchell, and Leslie Frazier. So the Cardinals here, they went 8-9, which doesn't sound bad, but Ken Whisenhunt has had many seasons with the Arizona Cardinals. So this was more of he needed to really break through this season. Just like Pep Hamilton, he had 5 seasons. Went 6-11 his first year, 11-6 made the playoffs, 6-11, 11-6 made the playoffs, and then 8-9 in this current season. The Arizona Cardinals had a good year with Andy Dalton his first year. Second year was more of a mediocre season, 29 touchdowns, 21 interceptions. They were the 23rd power-ranked team in what was a much weaker NFC West than we thought. Like, I thought the Rams with Andrew Luck were not going to do as well. They went 8-9. The Seattle Seahawks were supposed to do well, but they were 6-11. The San Francisco 49ers have been dominating the division ever since Drew Brees became their star quarterback, and they won the Super Bowl last year. This season, they were knocked out by the Falcons in round 1. They went 11-6, but the entry to the playoffs was a 9-8 record that the Falcons and Panthers were able to get. So if the Cardinals flipped their record or even won 2 more games, they would have been in the playoffs, which was ultimately the end goal. So the Arizona Cardinals get rid of their coaching staff, as you can see right there. Then we go to the New Orleans Saints. Saints finally get rid of general manager Dick Vermeil, head coach Josh McDaniels, Rob Chudzinski, and Sean McDermott after a 7-10 season. Now, this was after being they're the 18th power ranked team, so they weren't as bad as we may have thought, but they were 4th place in the division. Everyone in their division made the playoffs, but them. McDaniels has had 4 seasons, went 5-12, 6-11, 9-8, made the playoffs, 7-10. They went with Tim Tebow for these past couple of years. Tebow has just been okay. He's a lot better in my franchise than he did in real life, but it just, quite frankly, is not good enough at this point in the Saints' career. They want their team to go in a more successful direction. They do have the Buccaneers, the Falcons, the Panthers, who are really good teams, and they just need to find someone who can actually get them through it. Now, you see a few coordinators that got the boot. The Oakland Raiders got rid of Dennis Allen as their defensive coordinator. So this is Hugh Jackson's Oakland Raiders. And Hugh Jackson is known for not taking accountability, so he's likely going to find someone to blame when they went 8-9. This was one of his better seasons. He went 7-10 his first year, 8-9 the second year. But they decided to fire Dennis Allen. I think they believe there's a better defensive coordinator prospect. Now the Kansas City Chiefs get rid of Ken Zampese. Now the Kansas City Chiefs were the worst team in the league. Now I thought about firing Tony Sparano as well. Tony Sparano was the current head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. But I figured, you know what? There was a lot that went wrong, but their offense was bad. They were 30th in pass offense, largely due to Brandon Weeden. They were 19th in rush yards, 27th overall offense. Defense, they were 11th. They were a top 10 pass defense. They were 21st in rush yards. But so Jim Schwartz with the Chiefs stays. However, Sparano stays. But Ken Zampese is the guy that gets the boot. And then the Atlanta Falcons get rid of their offensive coordinator, and they still made the playoffs. But I was looking at, they were 9-8 with Peyton Manning. Now, Manning deserved, I felt better. I was surprised the Falcons were that low. They were the first-ranked passing offense. They were the 30th ranked rush offense. And so I thought, you know what, I wanted some sort of coaching change here because I felt that the Falcons should have had more success. And I think they see a better offensive coordinator available this year, so David Culley gets the boot. So now we're going to get over to some of the changes for the head coaches right on here on the next slide. So the first hiring is Gus Bradley, the San Diego Chargers defensive coordinator, becoming the new Tennessee Titans head coach. So in real life, Gus Bradley was with the Seattle Seahawks around this time. However, in my franchise, he has been with the San Diego Chargers for quite some time. Last year, the Chargers were 12-5. They're one of the best teams in the league. They were in the AFC Championship game. The defensive statistics were they were third in passing defense and 22nd in rush defense, but they were the number 6th ranked defense in the league. Bradley has been there for 6 years. 6 years as Sean Payton's defensive coordinator. Payton has had 7 years going into year 8. They got rid of Herm Edwards the 1 year. They had him. He was in there for 1 year as a defensive coordinator, Herm Edwards. Then Herm Edwards left for, I think it was the Dolphins. And so Gus Bradley became the defensive coordinator. With those many winning records with the Chargers, it was 11 his first season with the Chargers. They went 9-8, 13-4, 11-6, 13-4, 11-6, 12-5, 12-5. So he's been in a very successful environment, and the Tennessee Titans decide we're going to bring in Gus Bradley. Then Kevin Gilbride's out, and they bring in Mike Martz. Mike Martz was the former head coach of the Rams. Around this time, I believe he was the offensive coordinator. I'm trying to remember which team he was with, but I know there's some conflict wherever he was. He was with the Chicago Bears because he had some Jay Cutler issues. And he's mostly been out of the league for a while. I didn't really bring him back in once he was fired as the head coach. But when I realized he was still active in the league around this time, I thought, okay, let's bring him back. Hypothetically, maybe he was in college or he was coaching somewhere else. Then to replace Romeo Crennel is the defensive coordinator that was fired from Arizona, Leslie Frazier. I mean, I like Leslie Frazier as a coach, but he's never really had much success in my franchise. So I figured I'd give him another chance. But he has really bounced around the league quite a bit. I mean, he only had 2 seasons in Arizona. He's never been a head coach. I know he never was, in real life, he was the Vikings head coach at one point. But he has been with let's see. I'm going through my stuff here. Let's see the records. He was 1 year with the Houston Texans. So it was 2 years in Arizona, 1 year with the Texans. Then he was with the San Francisco 49ers from 2005 to 2009. And that was where he got his start. And so he's been with the Niners. He's bounced around the league. Now he is with the Tennessee Titans, and we will see if that actually changes to any sort of leap to a head coaching gig. Then you have the Jets hiring Oregon's Chip Kelly. In real life, Chip Kelly went to the Eagles, but this time he is going to the New York Jets to give that team some spark. Yes, I think this is going to be interesting. I haven't decided whether I allow Chip Kelly to slowly destroy the organization or if I play it right. Either way, Chip Kelly is going to try to bring some flash to this New York Jets team that is loaded with solid players. Now, replacing Tom Cable at OC is Gene Huey, and he has been with the Indianapolis Colts his entire career and from the start of my franchise, so back in 2002, 2003. He's been the running backs coach there for many years. I decided this was the time that he would take the leap up to the offensive coordinator position, largely because he was there for Chris Johnson. Now, again, Chris Johnson is a freak of nature, so of course he is going to be obviously a easy choice, like an easy running game when you have Chris Johnson. But the way Leon Washington played in the playoffs, where he had that big breakaway touchdown at the beginning of the Super Bowl, he carried the team through the playoffs. I decided to give him some credit. In real life, he stopped coaching in 2010. Now, I kind of kept that going, apparently, because I never really got rid of him as a running backs coach. But with this progress, I figured let's give him the chance to be an offensive coordinator. We will see if it's short or long-lived with Chip Kelly. So Gene Huey is going to be the offensive coordinator here in New York. And then there's Dan Pease. So Dan Pease was with the New England Patriots. He's been their their linebackers coach since 2002, 2003. All the way through to 2012, 2013. I've never swapped him out. He's been one of the longest serving coaches in New England, next to their special teams coach. So Dean Pease gets the nod, and he is going to be the defensive coordinator for Chip Kelly's New York Jets. The Arizona Cardinals fire Tom Heckert as GM and bring in Rob Brzezinski. He was the former Minnesota Vikings general manager for many years. Then you've got Ken Wisenhunt, who is getting replaced by the offensive coordinator for the offensive coordinator for the Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles had a fantastic season, and they've had many good years in this league. When we look at the Philadelphia Eagles' offense, they were the third-ranked offense, fourth in passing, 11th in rush yards, and it was largely due to this powerful McNabb-led offense. We have, it was 3 years for John DeFilippo. They went 12-5, 8-9, 11-6, playoffs, no playoffs, Super Bowl. But he, at this time, was considered a top head coaching candidate, kind of a young rising star. He never got a chance in real life, but here he is making his debut as a head coach for the Arizona Cardinals. I brought in Norv Turner, who kind of sat out a season as in the former head coach of the Vikings, who did make a Super Bowl in my franchise, losing to the Patriots. I figured Rob Brzezinski was the GM at the time, and so that made a good relationship to bring Norv Turner in. Turner should hopefully be trying to turn around this Arizona Cardinals offense. And then you have Tim Walton, who was with the New York Giants. Walton was the defensive backs coach for 3 seasons. We see the New York Giants being a solid team. They were 28th in rush yards, but they were 18th in the pass. And I just figured, you know what? When I was looking at different options, I thought Tim Walton would be a good choice. So they're going to go with Tim Walton there for the Arizona Cardinals on that the defensive coordinator position. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints bringing in offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur. Now, Shurmur in real life was with the Browns maybe about a year or two ago, but I decided that it was finally due that he gets his head coaching opportunity. I kept trying to find it. I mean, he's been with a multitude of teams, but he's been with Denver the past 2 seasons under Doug Marrone. They went 6-11 last year, which wasn't great. Then they went 10-7 and made the playoffs. We saw a change in Sam Bradford, who was awful in 2010 and in 2011, but almost as though they turned him around a bit. They were still 27th ranked passing, but they made the playoffs. And we're going to sit there and say it was largely due to the offense working under Pat Shurmur as one of the main reasons. Many people, even still today, consider Pat Shurmur to be an offensive genius. He just wasn't that great of a head coach in real life. But he's been with Oakland for a year, with Bobby Petrino and Bobby Bobby Petrino had only one season in my franchise. He was with the Eagles as the quarterbacks coach for like 02, 03, and 04. He was the Giants offensive coordinator when they went to 2 Super Bowls, lost both of them to the Colts. But at that time, that's when I was seeing Shurmur having an opportunity to be a head coach. However, it was a bit early for him, and so maybe I put him out a coordinator maybe too soon. But that was 2005, 2006. They made the NFC Championship game, won it, lost the Colts. Then in 06, 07, they did it again. This was under head coach Jim Fassel. Then the Giants went 7-10, 8-9, 7-10, in which Fassel and his entire team was fired. But Shurmur really rebuilding his career in Denver, and I believe deserves a shot to replace McDaniels in New Orleans. To replace Rob Chudzinski, we have Greg Marshall. Now, Greg Marshall is an Eagles positions coach. And again, there's a lot of people I plucked from the Eagles. They're the Super Bowl winning team. Greg Marshall was the wide receivers coach since 2004, 2005. He replaced David Culley, and he's been there ever since. So now he is getting the nod. I sort of brought him in because Marshall was on the same team as Pat Shurmur back in 2004, 2005. Shurmur, the quarterbacks coach, Marshall, the wide receivers coach. So I figured, that makes sense. Let's go ahead and give Greg Marshall the OC job. And then Marvin Lewis, who's been out for a season, he took a season off, and now he is going to come back as the defensive coordinator for the Saints. I think it's a decent move there. He was the coordinator for the Rams a long time ago, got his Cincinnati coaching job, and so now he's going to be taking on that coordinator position. And then we see Jerry Reese, the former Giants GM, replaces Dick Vermeil as general manager. And because of that, because of Shurmur's time with the Giants, I figured, okay, Jerry Reese as manager would bring in somebody he knew. And so he worked with Shurmur with Fassel in New York and now reunites with him in New Orleans. So that is the last of the head coach changes. So now you have some coordinators. So Pep Hamilton gets released as the head coach of the Titans. He now joins as the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. A lot of work there. Pep Hamilton got his coaching gig a long time ago because of the Jets. He was with the Mike McCarthy Jets for 3 seasons when they were 8-9, 8-9, 11-6 with Alex Smith. Alex Smith went from the first overall pick to being the number 1 quarterback in the league. I sort of gave Hamilton some credit there for that success, but the Jets have not been successful. Hamilton made the playoffs multiple times, or twice as the Titans head coach, but then it just went downhill from there. Then you have the Oakland Raiders bringing in Romeo Crennel, because despite the fact that Romeo Crennel never was a successful head coach, being with the Browns and the Chiefs in real life, he still is a good defensive coordinator, so he's going to have a job. And so Oakland, under Hugh Jackson, brings in Romeo Crennel. We'll see how much longer Hugh Jackson's the head coach anywhere. But he's going to bring in Romeo Crennel. And then the replacement for David Culley is the former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, Ken Whisenhunt. I think that's a better fit for Peyton Manning. Whisenhunt was the head coach for Phillip Rivers, Andy Dalton. Whisenhunt fits kind of that Manning style, and I think just think it made sense as a move to get rid of Culley. When you have Peyton Manning, you're going all in to win a Super Bowl. You only have so much time. Whisenhunt won a Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers with Drew Brees. That was back in 2007, 2008, the first time the 49ers won. And he was there for 3 seasons after, and so I felt that he was the right choice for offensive coordinator, so worth firing David Culley over. And then to finish off, just replacing the head coaches that were hired. Of course, Chip Kelly does not need replaced because he's from Oregon, so I don't have to worry about that. However, replacing Gus Bradley on the defensive coordinator job is the current linebackers coach for the San Diego Chargers. Bob Sutton has been with the team since 2005. He joined with Sean Payton, and now he is going to be promoted to the defensive line coach for the Chargers. Then the Philadelphia Eagles, after his first season as he had 3 seasons as the quarterbacks coach. This is Doug Peterson, and we all know Doug. Now, in real life, Doug Peterson became the offensive coordinator for Andy Reid in Kansas City. So because Andy Reid won a Super Bowl and is still in Philadelphia, I felt it made the perfect sense. Now, John DeFilippo was the quarterbacks coach in 2009, 2010, and then immediately got promoted to offensive coordinator after Marty Morningway, who the offensive coordinator at the time, left for the Washington Commanders job. DeFilippo was there for 3 years, and then those 3 years, it was Doug Peterson who was handling quarterbacks. And so Doug Peterson now gets the offensive coordinator job. And then you have the Denver Broncos having to replace Pat Shurmur. And this time, instead of promoting from within, they hire the wide receivers coach from the New York Giants. That's Jed Fish. I think Jed Fish had some success in real life as a coordinator. And I thought this was the time to move him up. So Jed Fish will replace Pat Shurmur. So I hope you like these videos. Again, there's a lot of depth to this franchise. Maybe I'll share some of the position coaches and like what I was doing with that for the many years. But if you like this video, if you like content like this, please subscribe, like, maybe leave a comment. Let me know that you're watching. I know it's a smaller channel, but I hope you enjoy the depth that we go into with this 32-team franchise. More off-season content coming up next.